Alright, so here we go, out on another run, starting from a new location out here, running out here in Miami, Florida. We're trying to reach up and touch the headphone. See, with this headphone, it's a little bit different because to raise the volume, you just tap the button on the left, but to lower it, you gotta hold on to it. Just kind of hard when you're running and juggling and doing this nonsense that you see me doing. So here we go, out here on another journey. Woo. So, I'll admit to you one thing, and a lot of you might suffer from this sort of affliction, this mainstream dilemma called procrastination. And that's something, a demon of sorts that I dealt with today, this morning, waking up, and this demon presented itself in front of me all the way to the point to now when I'm out here running. That procrastination pretty much made me not want to go out here and run. It made me want to do pretty much anything but run, because sometimes when you're in a loop of procrastination, or you have that in front of you, pretty much you'll do anything but do what you have to do. It'll make the usual mundane tasks, stuff that you never really do, it'll turn them into the most appealing things that you've ever done. So an example of this would be like if you have a paper to write. One thing that comes to my mind growing up as a kid is that old SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob, he's got a paper to write, and he goes through these sort of nightmares of such, and these horrific experiences of different tasks that he's doing. But ultimately, what he realizes is that he's got to write that paper, and those nightmares haunt him and remind him that at how much time he's got left to do that assignment. And it's sort of a kiddish way of expressing it. But let's cross this later on, because this place is flooded with cars at the moment. We don't want to go in there and disrupt the flow of traffic and their trip to work or wherever they're going, or going to grab lunch because it's like 2 p.m. So, as I was saying, is the idea of procrastination, that bug, that virus that comes and haunts you. So when it shows up in the form of I'll do this later, I'll push this aside, I'll do it tomorrow. You've probably heard that famous line. You probably said it yourself. I know I have. In that line of, I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's a better day to do this. I'm tired. So what you end up doing is you push it aside for a later date. And while that may feel good in the short term because you don't want to do it, here, let's see if we can cross the street real quick. And as I was saying, while pushing your tasks and objectives aside to a later date may actually feel good in the short term because you're resting or taking a break. Whether you're in a gym, your muscles are getting a break from the workout, or your mind is taking a break from that exhausting paper, may feel good in the short term, but over time it's sort of it haunts you in a sense, because long term you're shooting yourself in the foot. It'll catch up with you, because one thing is that time only goes forward. So if you push things aside, your head might rationalize that you're not doing it right now, and you may even think that you might never have to do it because your mind is caught up in the present moment. And while that may be true, in the present, you're no longer doing this or have to do this or think about this, which may feel great, especially if it's something that you don't want to do. But as time goes forward, as the clocks move forward, the concept is by James Bay. It's a song that clocks move forward, pretty dramatic song, and it makes you realize that what you did in the past catches up with you in the future. You deciding not to head out to the gym today will catch up with you later. And you may argue that some people want it more than others, but if you're that person that wanted that six-pack, that wanted that bachelor's degree or that master's degree, that wanted to graduate top of their class, whatever ranks and accolades you want to get, in order to get those things, they're ultimately milestones or markers. And those things don't happen overnight. They take long months and possibly years or even decades of hard work to achieve. And how can those long hours of work be accomplished if you're simply procrastinating and pushing it aside? So those battles are won pretty much by defeating that procrastination demon, or whatever you want to call it, that thing that haunts you. So you may find yourself every day going to war with that thing, going to war with that procrastination, that thing that wants you to push everything aside. And I'll admit to you myself, I'm guilty of it. And what you'll also find too is being a college student, and you know what, when you're in the work environment too, this is another thing, because college trains you to handle real life work situations, simulates it. So when you're working in these group environments, you might have to deal with people that procrastinate, or you might be the one that procrastinates. And hopefully you're not that guy or girl, because you won't be the most favorable person in that group. But what you'll realize is that the effect of procrastination, because what it does is it slows you down. When other people decide not to do their work today and you're responsible for the same work, it hurts you. You feel it. You feel the impact of their decision to wait and save it for the end. And when you have to depend on them for the part and doing it in a timely manner, they didn't come through. And I have vivid memories of times where it would be this huge paper and everyone had their part. You did the intro, I did the methods, someone did the conclusion, whatever. But oftentimes in a paper, a lot of the things, they have to come together to formulate the paper. It can't just be you do your thing, I do my thing, we ignore everything. It's a team effort. We collaborate, we bounce off of each other's ideas. And how can you do that in a team environment when somebody is deciding to save things for the last minute and procrastinate? That's not fair to you, right? So why would you do that to other people? Now, you know, I might sound like some angry guy venting, some guy that's been through some pretty traumatic experiences of having people did that to them. But I'll be the first to admit, I did that to people. I was guilty of that. I was the bad guy that, and even when I would walk back into the group, I would get these cold looks from people wondering, you know, when am I gonna do my work? When am I gonna come through? When they did their part already. So that taught me to not be that guy. what it felt like to let people down because of my inability to fight procrastination. So, with that, that's that argument. So don't procrastinate, ladies and gentlemen. Because if I had procrastinated, you wouldn't see me out here on this run and yelling over cars and running about, because I would never have done it if you keep procrastinating over and over again. Because there comes a point to where when you actually do the things, you defeat that bug. But the longer you fight that thing, the worse it is. The quicker you knock it out. You hit him with a nice right cross, 1-2 punch, boom, boom. That guy's on the floor. You're in a better position. It's a speed game. That guy's driving a little bit crazy over here, but I want to keep that positive energy among us, because who knows what happened to that guy today. So what was I saying to you? Yeah, that fight with procrastination, it's not a marathon or a long race. You know, what I'm doing out here is I'm running for as long as I can, fighting the battle for as long as I can. That fight with procrastination, it's almost like a sprint. You want to get that thing done as quickly as possible, you know, super fast, a big explosion of energy. So you wake up and you have procrastination show up, and what you can do, if you got a friend, throw water in your face, though that might piss you off, or you jump up out of bed